Welcome to Behind the Veil. Now, here is your transformational coach, Tammy Cox.
If I could give you one thing, if you could leave this hour with one thing, what would that be?
To stop the reactive trigger I get when I feel trapped or controlled. I think initially it feels like like someone's trying to control me, but it causes me to get so much like "Rah," like mama bear, cat pouncing on you, kind of a reactiveness. For example, just a few days ago, this doesn't happen too often these days, but it's enough. Once is too many at this point in my life, where my son and my husband were getting into a thing. I tried to step in to mediate. It became a deal. That's not abnormal. But then my son, who I said, usually it's my husband that this is happening with, but my son saw me getting upset, starting to get triggered and irrational. And I said, go get your keys and bring them to me now. You're losing your car. And he refused to do that. And then he stood in my way in my room between the door, like he wouldn't let me leave and he wouldn't leave me alone. He just kept coming at me. And usually it's my husband that's continually like coming at me and won't give me the space to diffuse. And so, but in this case, I ended up getting like, I mean, I'm literally screaming at my son, which is so not okay. Um, and I mean, I'm cussing and it's just not me. Like it's not me. But this behavior is a pattern that I have seen and so in that moment, knowing this was coming up, I thought, what am I feeling right now? What is happening right now? And all I could sense is that I feel like there was people like whoever, doesn't really matter who the person is, that they're like standing in my way. They're trying to tell me what to do to control me, which is creating a negative, like as though I can't get to safety. I feel like I can't get to safety. And I'm feeling trapped, completely trapped, like I'm not safe and I can't get out. So I would like to figure out either what is causing that, what trauma, what memory, or doesn't really matter to me necessarily what trauma caused that. I just want to fix that
Okay, got
response.
So then you felt that someone was standing in your way and trapping you, and then you're doing that to your son in that moment.
No, actually, I wasn't trapping my son. He was standing in my way. He wouldn't let me out of my room, and he wouldn't let me just be by myself. I wanted to be left alone, and I wanted him to leave, but he wouldn't allow me. He wouldn't allow me out.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I am going to have you close your eyes.
Okay. And one more little caveat.
Okay.
The other big cyclical thing that kind of to me is wrapped within this is within my current relationship and my past marriage, et cetera, is my 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out, to where when this occurs, I'm automatically out. Like, forget it. It's a flight. It's a complete flight. I'm running away.
Got it. Okay. Close your eyes. We're going to focus on one emotion right now, and then we'll work on the next one after.
Okay.
Okay. So close your eyes, and I want you to tune in to your body. Okay. Tune totally in. Okay. I want you to notice your breath as it comes in, goes out. I want you to feel the earth beneath you rising up to hold you. I want you to feel what you feel as you're being supported by the earth. That's right. And I want you to just start to follow your breath in and out. Now, I want you to also become aware as you're allowing your body to relax, allowing each muscle to surrender, release, let go. I want you to become aware that there is a big energy ball above your head, a peaceful, loving, healing energy ball. And first impression, what color is that energy ball?
Blue.
Blue. Okay, this big blue energy ball, I want you to come to notice. I want you to come to realize and feel that there is this big moonroof at the top of your head. And as it's opening, I want you to allow that blue energy to flow in through the top of your head. And with each breath, I want you to see it moving to filling your brain, your eyes, your ears, your nose, allowing it to go deeper. As it's moving down this blue energy ball, I want you to recognize that as it's moving to the different parts of your body, you're allowing it to go deeper and deeper on a cellular level. So I want you to allow it to move down, filling your chin and your mouth, the back of your head. I want you to just see it filling your entire head and allowing this blue energy to go even deeper. That's right, even deeper still. I want you to allow it to move down your neck and your throat. That's right. And I want you, as it's moving down, to just feel your muscles totally relax. Let go, release. And as it's moving down, I want you to just notice that it's also draining you of all the resistance in your body. It's just simply flowing out. It's moving down to your shoulders, filling your heart center. That's right. And it's also opening your heart. Yeah, allowing that love to flow in, allowing this peaceful, loving blue energy to move down and going deeper and deeper on a cellular level. That's right. I want you to see it moving down your arms to your elbows, your wrists, and shooting out your fingertips. And I want you to see it moving down to your belly, down to your hips. And as it's coming in, I want you to recognize and notice that it's also allowing all resistance to simply be released with ease, grace, and flow. That's right. And I want you to move it down to your knees and your ankles and shooting out your toes. And I want you to, as you take a deep breath in and exhale out, I want you to create a big blue bubble with this energy all around your body. That's right. Taking up your entire energy field. That's right. And I want you to feel it just relax your body, bring this healing, loving, joyful, beautiful energy just penetrating every single cell of your being, going deeper. And that's right. And as you remain in this beautiful, healing, loving bubble, notice that no matter what you do, you are just always connected to this loving energy. This is safety for you. This is your shield. It always protects you. And as long as you feel this blue energy in every single fiber of your being, nothing can touch you. And as you're protected and loved in this bubble, I want you to bring your attention to that emotion of feeling trapped. When someone is standing in your way, trapping you, I want you to feel into that powerlessness you feel in that moment. And I want you to recognize, first impression, where in your body does that emotion stem from? First impression, put your hand
In
on
my
it.
chest.
That's right. What color is it, first impression?
Red.
Red. I want you to see that red color projecting out from your heart center, right from that area. And I want you to notice that there is a memory attached, a picture attached to this color that's projecting out. First impression, this is the first time you ever felt this emotion. It is the strongest you've ever felt this emotion. It is the event that created this emotion. First impression, do you have the picture?
I'm being screamed at
How old are
by
you?
my parents.
How old are you, first impression?
3.
You're 3. Is it just you and your parents in the room? Where are you?
No, at first it just seems like a blur. Like I thought it was my dad, then it was my mom. It feels like fire. But then feel like I'm seeing my dad walking away and my mom is still screaming. I think I'm in my room, but I can't be sure.
Okay. I want you to go ahead and put yourself in that picture as the third party, fourth party, fifth party. I want you to go ahead and be in that room with your 3-year-old self and your dad and your mom. And I want you to describe to me everything that is happening from this 3-year-old's perspective. What is she feeling?
I'm feeling blocked, like I can't quite get to this memory, like it's there, but it's not. I feel like it's deeper than I can access right now.
Are there any things you notice about this image? And I want you to trust yourself here. May feel like it's your imagination, and that's okay. But I want you to trust yourself. What do you become aware of in this scene, in this picture?
I feel like I've done something wrong, but I don't know what. I'm being screamed at for something I've done wrong, but I don't know what. I don't think I've done anything wrong.
Anything else you become aware of?
I don't know why I keep wanting to go back to, but I don't feel like it's at this moment. I feel like it has to do something with my dad raping me or offending me. And like my mom is mad about it, but she's mad at me, which does not make any sense. But I'm in trouble.
What else do you become
I
aware of?
I'm aware that my mom is trying to deflect from the real scenario and the real situation and the truth. I'm aware that my dad is just walking away like nothing has happened. And I'm left to stand there and be screamed at by her.
I want you to connect with this 3-year-old little girl. What is she feeling?
Confused, angry, hurt. I don't understand what's going on or what's happened or why I'm in trouble.
Okay. I want you to
I'm
see,
just,
I want you to see her in a big red bubble. Okay. In that big red bubble of emotion. And I want you to go ahead, you as the third party, you is the now you. And I want you to go ahead and go into the center of that red bubble. And I want you to take on her emotions. I want you to go right to the center of it. And I want you to feel everything that she's feeling right now. And then I want you to double the emotion, double the emotion, double the emotion. I want you to take it all on you. I want you to feel it fully. And as you feel it fully, I want you to watch the red dissolve. That's right. I want you to take on the emotion. I want you to allow the emotional red to dissolve as you go into the center, as you take on all those feelings that this 3-year-old little girl could not handle at 3 years old. And I want you to feel them fully. And whatever emotion wants to come through you, I want you to allow it to be emoted from your being. And I want you to stay in the center of it until it is fully dissolved, until it's absolutely gone. Like threading a needle, I want you to go through it. Tell me when it's cleared. What color is it now?
living white. It's yellow, but turning white.
Okay. Start to notice the look on her face. I want you to become very aware of her expression. You'll know that emotion is dissolving, that red's dissolving when you look at her face and she no longer has the tears, the confusion, the emotion, but smiling, like she let all the emotion go. It's no longer in her field. Tell me when it's fully dissolved. What's the look on her face now?
It's laughter and joy.
I want you to go ahead and gift her with this blue healing energy bubble. I want you to scoop her up in your arms. And I want you to tell her everything that she needs to hear. I want you to show her all the love that she needs to feel. That's right. I want you to hug her and kiss her. Tell her how wonderful and perfect and beautiful she is. All the things that she needs to hear so desperately, I want you to tell her. Is there anything else that she needs to know?
she's okay, that she's safe. I love you. You are wonderful and smart and beautiful and loved. You can
Mhm.
do anything. You can be anything you want to be.
Mhm. Anything else?
It's not your fault. You didn't do this. You didn't choose this, and everything is okay.
Anything else she needs to hear from you?
You are safe. You are loved. You are beautiful.
I want you to tell her that you came all the way back from the future just to be with her right here in this moment, just to tell her all these things, just to comfort her and tell her that everything's going to be okay. I want you to tell her that you will come back anytime she needs you. All she has to do is ask and you'll be there. I want you to tell her how wonderful of a future that she has, how much fun she has to look forward to, everything she needs to hear to feel absolutely amazing. And when you feel like you've done that, I want you to give her a hug goodbye. And I'm going to have you go ahead and come up out of that room. I want you to go about 30 feet above that room. And we're going to go back in time from that moment, from that 3-year-old you. We're going to go back in time, back before you were ever born, back before you were ever conceived. In fact, we're going to go back on your dad's side, all the way back to your father at age 4. So I want you to see yourself going back in time. I want you to feel yourself going back in time. And when you're there, I want you to look down in your mind's eye and notice you 30 feet above your father at 4 years old. And I want you to go ahead and be in the room with him. Notice him at 4 years old. Become aware of his little face. Become connected to his emotions. What is he feeling right now? Is he feeling sad, confused? Is he feeling like he doesn't belong? Is he feeling scared? And I
He's
want you
feeling
to,
alone.
okay, he's feeling alone. I want you to scoop him up in your arms. And just like you did with your 3-year-old self, I want you to do all this for him. I want you to tell him that everything's going to be okay. I want you to tell him that you came all the way back from the future just to be with him in this moment. What else does he need to hear from you right now?
I'm sorry for what he went through. I forgive him,
Mm-hmm. What else do you want to say to him right now?
and I love you. And I'm so sorry for all the hurt that came to you. I'm sorry how mean your dad and mom were to you, how horrible they were, and how they treated you, and that you didn't get the love that you needed, that you had to grow up so fast and take care of your siblings.
What else?
I'm sorry you didn't get the life that you wanted. I know that you sacrificed and didn't get the life you wanted because you felt that was the right thing to do, even though it's not what you wanted to do.
What else?
I want to tell him I did my best. I did my best to be the best daughter I could be. I feel like I failed in that because I did not live up to his expectations. I didn't live the way he wanted me to live,
Are
but
you
I
willing
was living my life for me.
are you willing to forgive yourself for that?
I don't know. I feel like I've made a lot of decisions in my life that not just with my dad, but with other people too, that I have not met their expectations. And I've made my own decisions that have put me in places that I regret.
Are you ready to forgive yourself for that?
I want to, I just don't know how.
Well, it starts with a decision, like everything else. You could decide today to let yourself off the hook, just like you decided to let your parents off the hook.
But why is that so hard? I can forgive everyone else. I know they're human, they make mistakes. Why is that so hard for me to allow myself to make mistakes?
That's a good question. Why is it so hard for you to make mistakes? and forgive
Because I
yourself.
have to be perfect. I have to be perfect.
Why do you have to be perfect?
That is what is expected of me. I'm not allowed to mess up.
Can you forgive yourself for not being perfect?
Yeah.
Can you make that decision today?
Yes.
One last thing before we leave. Your dad, at 4 years old, I want you to go ahead and give him the blue healing bubble. I want you to let him know that this blue energy bubble will protect him, help him feel safe and loved, joyful, no matter what the circumstances are. I want you to tell him that all he has to do is become aware of this bubble. That's all he has to do. I want you to give him a big hug goodbye. Tell him that you're here for him, that you'll come back for him anytime he needs you. And I want you to say goodbye. I want you to hop out of that room, go 30 feet back up, look down, see him sitting there in that room. And I want you to make your way back to the present. That's right, all the way back to the present moment. And as you do, I want you to notice, become aware that as you look down, all the old pathways are completely dissolving, breaking away, shattering, completely breaking to reveal this brand new, beautiful patterns that are now being formed. Beautiful golden patterns created by love and peace and joy and forgiveness, freedom, all these new pathways coming to be, all because of this work you're doing right here, right now. As you make your way back to the present moment, I want you to see these old structures completely falling apart, knowing that they are no longer relevant. With so much gratitude, allowing them to dissolve, 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 knowing that this is going to allow for the new, the beautiful, the blessed, the amazing new pathways that you get to create. This symbolizes all the new pathways within the body and without, knowing that there is no separation. Coming back to the present moment, making your way back, recognizing that these patterns are symbolizing that you've recreated new structures, not just within yourself, but within the family. That you're allowing all that trauma, all that pain to fall away in order to make the time and space for the new pathways. Just allowing your body to feel it as you make your way back to the present moment. And I want you to go ahead and hang about 30 feet above your body, laying right there, right now. I want you to look down and see yourself lying there right here and now. And I want you to go ahead and make your way down. That's right. Down, down, down to integrate back into the body. Down through the top of the head. That's right. Allowing your moon roof to open as you allow your spirit to come back down into the body through the top of the head, to the shoulders, to the hips, to the knees, to the ankles, to the feet. How are you feeling?
Good. Some relief.
Some relief?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How's your body feeling?
Lighter. Yeah, lighter for sure.
Okay. You can sit up if you would like. I'm going to go through this with you. Okay, what were the new discoveries that came in?
Um, I think the I think I've always just held myself to some level of perfection that is not attainable. Um, and I get very angry with myself when I can't accomplish that. I'm very hard on myself. So I'm extremely driven. I'm driven to a lot of goals and dreams that I believe are attainable, but I hold myself to a standard way above, like I should have done that by now, or like
Yeah.
um so I
Well, perfection by whose standard?
Um, well, I realize now, I thought it was my own standard, but I realize now that was put upon me by my parents, and I'm sure also put by his parents, my dad's parents. That
Were,
was
were you aware that there was incest before?
I had a revelation of incest through some ketamine treatments, um, uh, where it was kind of revealed to me that there was that abuse was going on for like ages 2 to 5. It was revealed to me at that time that my mom knew about it. So I was very angry, but I was at peace about it because of the ketamine, the way the ketamine works, What's new in this was my mom screaming at me and essentially blaming like me, like it's my fault for this behavior. I don't know how in the world that is at all rational. Um, that somehow what's happening even within their relationship is like my fault. That is so ludicrous. Like I can logically look at that and go, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
Are both your
Uh,
parents deceased?
they are.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad passed about a year and a half ago, and my mom passed the very, very last week of 2019. So about 5 years.
So you never got to speak to either of your parents about this?
No, I discovered what I felt was truth about it a handful of months before my dad passed away. Um, but I had so much peace about it, and my dad's and my relationship had gotten exponentially better in the last year before he passed away. I was his caretaker. Um, and so I didn't at the time, I really didn't feel a need to dig that up with him. Um, because in my, I'm going to call it a dream, okay? In my ketamine experience, and then also waking up and logically looking at it and understanding that he made a choice at some point to stop. So it also felt revealed to me that this was a generational sin that had occurred to him, to him, to him, to him. Like it just kind of kept seeing this revelation of it was like it wasn't just my dad, it was my dad and his 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 dad. It was like it was just shown to me that it went back a long way, and that my dad is the one that, although it occurred, who chose to stop it instead of it continuing on. And
Mm-hmm.
so I saw that as his best effort to realize something about this isn't right. And then that broke. And of course, my children now have been safe,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I know. I mean,
Yeah,
we've had,
in my opinion, though, my love, you still got some stuff in there.
yeah.
You still, you have not allowed yourself to even tap into the anger that's still residing in you because of the perfectionism. A lot of times I see with personality types like yours, you go through this trauma, right? And then because you were kind of shown, okay, we got to put a mask on this. We got to make the package look pretty. What you learned how to do was become disconnected from your emotions, put a pretty bow on it, and not really allow yourself to feel it. And so it did take a while before you finally started feeling the emotions. And it wasn't until we went to your dad. So what that showed me is that you have not even begun to tap into the emotions that you're still storing in your body.
Hmm. I can
Right?
see that. I can
Yeah.
see that because they end up coming out as rage and,
Which is why you do that.
entrapment.
Which is
Right.
why you do that. It means that it's still in there. And even though this, like you were able to go really far. Sometimes I find with someone who hasn't even started doing the work, they're way more shut down. I could tell you started the work, but just by the way the way it all went down, I can tell that there's still a lot of emotion trapped inside of you, specifically anger and rage.
Hmm.
And that's why I think it would be great to work together beyond this, right? And even if you don't choose me, even you could choose someone else who does different processes, but you still got some And we all do. I'll be really honest with you. We all do. But I see that disconnect with your emotions where you still haven't allowed yourself to feel, right? You got exposed to the fact that this happened to you, right? You got the truth of it, but you have not allowed that little girl to feel her feelings.
Right.
So, that's just my assessment. The perfectionism too, that really ties into it because, like I said, if you're raised in the system of like secrets, that was my family, secrets, paint a pretty bow on it, look the part, right? Tuck all the shit under the rug, let's hide it. Um, and you have not allowed yourself, even though you, like I said, I don't want to take away the fact that you've taken massive steps in your life, but there's still a lot of unresolved trauma in those first 5 years for you. Like that little girl still resides in you and she's still in a lot of pain. And she hasn't really been allowed to feel her feelings fully, right? Because did you notice that when we went back to you, you didn't really cry much, right? But when we went back to your dad, you could connect with him, right? You felt his emotions in the way that you didn't allow yourself to feel your own 3-year-old self's emotions.
Right.
And when it
It,
comes to when I do these processes on someone that experiences abuse that young, especially sexual abuse, there is a lot of emotion there. So just your invitation to dig deeper, right? Your invitation that rage is directly connected to that little girl who needs to feel it. She was told, hide it, cover it up. You can't be angry. You're not allowed to be angry. Hide that shit. And she still is doing it. And she gets to feel her feelings. She's angry. She has a right to be angry. She was mistreated. She was hurt. And she gets to feel that. And the reason why I say that is, like I told you before, our emotions, if they're not emoted, they literally get trapped in the body. Now, I know because working with people on the trauma level, they have lost weight because a lot of their weight was due to it's all due, right? You're triune in nature, you're connected.
yeah,
So
just
so
protecting
so the
yourself.
fact that you were able to lose that much weight tells me automatically that you have done some work, right?
hmm
And all I'm saying is that I think it's just time to excavate to the lower levels that maybe you've been sort of scared to go to. But
Yeah, it's
that's
possible.
what
I mean, I walk around a lot of times feeling numb
Mhm.
and distracted, and I find myself um, repeating, um, not as much as it used to be. I mean, this used to be daily and multiple
Right.
times daily, to where now it seems more rare. But I find those self-sabotaging behaviors, or if things are going really, really good for a long time, next thing I know, it's not.
Well,
So
and then the 1 foot in and 1 foot out thing, right? So if you have two parents that didn't do their job in protecting you, right? I have the same experience, by the way, where your father abused you and then your mom didn't step in to help. That was my
mhm,
situation too. How would you expect that child to trust anyone since the two people that were created to protect her didn't do their job?
mhm,
Right. So here's that little girl. She's still here. She is still within you. No wonder she can't fully trust anyone else. So she's sitting there like, who can I trust? Who can I trust? Like ready to run whenever you need to, ready to protect yourself because no one else could. That is your defense mechanism. That's what you
right.
had to learn as that little girl who did not have the support system. She didn't have anyone on her side.
No, I've always done it myself, and I feel stronger. I feel physically stronger when I am just doing it on my own. And so I tend to go down that road. It's like, this is too much, too hard, you know, and it's I mean, it's not easy, obviously, to do anything on your own, but to me, it feels easier because it's like I don't have to, no one's going to stand in my way. No one's going to, get in the way of me accomplishing whatever it is I'm trying to do or the choices I'm trying to make. No one's going to control me anymore. No one's going to hold me down and keep me from living, the life I want to live. And that is how I feel within the current relationship or,
Well, right, because when you were a child, you felt powerless.
Mhm.
And in some ways, when I've heard you talking, I noticed that powerlessness has followed you. Now you've released a lot of it, but on some level, you're still feeling powerlessness.
Right.
And that's why when someone corners you and it feels like they're trying to control you, you're going to lash out and react.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me too. When I'm triggered, I'm like I'm having a tantrum like a 2-year-old, right? Because that's the way I had to learn to adapt in my home, my family of origin, which is the same with you. So, one thing that you can really do moving forward, because what I've noticed with really successful people is just what you said. They're really driven. They don't even know it. You do not recognize it, but you're really driven with this mindset of, I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have that for your parents. So they're dead, they're long gone, but you're still trying to prove yourself to them. And it's creating a misalignment. That's why you're successful in these things, but you're not really doing the things that bring you joy, the things that light you up inside, your true purpose. You're not living it because you're more concerned about showing them. And I say that because what the way it comes off energetically is you're not even connected to this. So I'm not saying you're doing it consciously, but unconsciously, you are trying to prove to them that you're worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gone. Right. So when you start continuing to work on this, what you're going to notice is you're going to become more aligned to your purpose. That's what's going to be driving you. You're not going to be driven by this perfectionist thing of trying to prove to your parents that you're worthy of existing. Right?
Right.
So one thing you can kind of ask yourself about everything that you do in your daily life is like, who am I doing this for? Right? It doesn't matter if it's a small thing or a big thing, but just start assessing in your mind how many things in your daily life are you just doing for other people? Because that's really what's going to change that worthiness conversation within your mind. Because when you start doing things to please you, all of a sudden your subconscious is going to go, oh, we're important now. I'm the important one, right? Because action is really what proves to your subconscious mind that you're ready to change the beliefs.
That's where in my current scenario, I do not feel free to do that. Um, because if or when I do make choices to do certain things or go a certain direction, I'm doing something I want to do, it's like I get questioned a lot. Um, I get, I get a lot of questioning. I get,
But
and
that's just your beliefs, and you could change the beliefs. You get to create your life how you want it when you start digging in, doing your inner work, and recognizing the beliefs that are keeping you in the same old patterns. Once
yeah,
you
that I
change the
can't, it's
beliefs,
not a misnomer of like the guilt trips that you get,
well, again,
when you do them.
that's doing things for other people, right? A guilt trip, think about it. Nothing means anything except for the meaning you give it. I know when I started on my healing journey, no one understood what the F I was doing. Everyone was confused because I changed everything about myself and they were very confused. But you
Mm-hmm.
got to make that okay for a while and say, you don't
Right.
have to understand this. You don't have to get it. This is my path. This is my life. And when you start loving yourself on that level, oh my gosh, you are going to live passionate, every day, every moment, because you're doing what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah. I
You're
get
living your
concerned
life.
about affecting my kids, like the outcome for them,
Yeah.
what that looks like for them. I'm concerned both ways. I'm concerned if I stay in this scenario that I'm, unhappy in that, I'm smart enough to know it's two people making a mess, but I got to ask myself sometimes I have to ask myself, do I want to be married? There are
Mhm.
parts of me that do because there's comfort in being married. There's
Mhm.
simplicity in having a partner. There are good things that come to being married, but there are parts of me that I don't know that I want that, you know, and that is against what everyone in my world believes,
Mhm.
right?
I know,
That is it.
sweetheart.
That
Yeah.
is against and my
Mhm.
children. My children will suffer. So I'm like, well, okay, I guess one suffers so that all my children don't have to suffer over going through, a divorce or a split up or whatever,
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
this,
I always tell people, I'm like, don't make any decisions till you start doing your healing journey because you never know what's going to open up. When you start purging yourself of those old, stuck negative beliefs that are in your body, when those start coming out, that's why I said you have like this clear space within your field where you are like, you finally go from being more negative to being more positive because you've kind of released all this shit. And now it's like, ooh, what else can I do with this, the rest of the time I have in the physical?
hmm
Do you know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
don't even know until you start excavating all the old junk.
yeah,
You will know and you will feel it. But until then, stay put and do your work on you. Because what I've noticed is even if you leave the relationship, if you move on, pick someone else. If you have not done the inner work, you're going to pick the same kind of person
right.
over and over and over again. That's what I see with these women. They're like, oh no, I'll just get a divorce. And I'm like, okay, but please work on you. They don't. And then boom, the pattern goes on and on. Fix the things that are drawing you to those people to begin with, and then see what happens. Then you could go your separate ways in total love. I think that I've seen divorces where they stayed in a total loving relationship and it had very little negative impact on the kids because their relationship was not you against you. You know what I'm saying? It can
hmm
be a very loving split. I release you and that's what I would do if I was in that situation. It would just be released with so much love. Do you know what I'm saying?
hmm
It doesn't have to be the animosity and terrible whatever. It could just be this beautiful, like parting ways, but not really because you have kids in common and you'll forever be connected to them. But it doesn't have to be an animosity.
hmm
So that's why I say do your inner work, work on you, and then see what unfolds for you. Because I have had some women that have been like, you know, they came to save their marriage, but at the end of it, they realized that they just were no longer in alignment. And that was perfect too, right? It's
Yeah,
like either way, it's gonna be perfect. But what I am most interested in is the fact that you get the healing that you need so that you can live your life purpose. Because
yeah,
I believe
me
that you are
too.
a great healer. I believe that you went through these things so you can impart to other people the healing gifts that you then get to show them because you're on the other side of it, right?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I do believe it. I mean, I think our mess is our message, as they say. But so I do, excuse me. I always used to say that my voice was not given to me to for 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 that purpose. It was given to me to get my foot in the door so that I could then make a bigger impact. It's like because it's not what drives me. What drives me is helping others. What drives me is seeing other women thrive. And,
Music is healing. Music is
yeah,
healing.
oh,
It's a
absolutely,
huge healing modality.
and, but for me, there's, it's like I got what I needed when I got that validation. I got that, like I needed that. I got it. And then, like you talked about that drive, my drive after my life completely crumbled in 2012, and I started my healing journey then in little tiny bits and pieces. I have a long way to go, but um, when I went through that process, I realized I went through a deep depression for a while because my drive was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I started the healing and I got a certain amount of way in there, I started realizing there were these traumas I needed to go through and all that. My drive went completely away because I realized that my drive was exactly what you said. It was being completely driven by trauma. That was it, and that it wasn't driven by anything I actually wanted. Like at the time, I needed more, I needed more to the point it was like killing me, and detrimental to me at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now I don't think of, I'm no longer driven by that need for more.
Yeah.
What I'm driven by now is a need for building a life of freedom and flexibility that allows me the space to then, serve other
Right.
people,
Right.
or serve my children, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So it is different, not to say that there's not still something in there
Well, when you're
that,
doing the things
causes
that
me to go certain ways, but
when you're doing something that brings you joy, it's just not work. It's never
right.
work, right?
But there is still something that stops me from pursuing that real purpose
Mm-hmm.
because I say what I want to do. I say what I know I'm headed for. I say what I'd like to get done. But for some reason, I can't seem, I say for some reason, I can identify logically that it has to do with my choice of worth or value in myself. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing a session, a conference. Um, so um, I find that what was I saying, Tammy?
You were
That
you were basically talking about the reason why.
that I
Like,
don't move forward for my own purpose and passion is because I don't believe in myself.
mm-hmm.
I don't believe I'm worth it.
Right.
I don't believe I am worth making that good living or whatever, doing something that is on me versus if I have a product I believe in or a business idea that I believe in or a partnership that I can buy into, I can believe in that. So I can do that all day long, but when it comes to I
And
need
that's why
to
this work is so important. If you
mhm,
were always, because you're right, everything that we do in life, if we have not healed the wounds of our childhood, everything that we do is because of the wounds, the trauma.
right.
It's really our invitations to go within and work on ourselves, because I believe that this is the time that this is happening, where we have this opening in time and space to really go back and work on these young parts of ourselves so that we can have a different life moving forward. And I
Do you
believe,
also
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, do you also work on some of these bigger traumatic events that have occurred in, early adulthood or even full on adulthood that
Most of the
really
time
impacted?
most of the time that's where I start with someone like you, because a lot of people, it depends on if they had a more traumatic adulthood or childhood. Usually we start from more present and work our way back.
hmm
So for you, that's what I would do,
hmm Yeah, I got a lot of that too.
because it's like the layers, we got to peel back the more recent traumas so that you could kind of you'll have more access to the ones beneath it once we peel off the outer layers, right?
hmm
So yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what I would do with you.
Okay. Um, and then you want to send me what that looks like?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, ideally, I like to do 6 months. However, some people just like to start somewhere. I won't do anything less than 12 weeks though. So 3 months is the very least I will do. One-on-one once a week, homework, right? I have videos and homework that you will be doing. Not that you'll turn into me, but that you're doing your own spiritual practice in between sessions, right? Because that's really what's grounding the work we do in the sessions. And then you'll have access to me on Voxer, which is basically, do you know what Voxer is? Like a
I've
walkie-talkie
heard of
app?
it, but I don't know.
Okay, it's like a walkie-talkie app where you can voice memo me. The good thing about Voxer is that they don't delete. You know, if I texted a voice memo to you, it deletes after you listen. But on Voxer, they stay up. And so basically, if because especially the first couple weeks, you kind of need a little bit more hand holding, so you could reach out to me anytime on there and get like coaching in the moment. So it's 24/7 access to me on Voxer, the sessions once a week, and the homework.
Okay.
So, and we could get you started as early as next week.
Okay. I would imagine I will probably move forward. I need to, like anyone, if I don't say something, we have an agreement in our house. It is over an X amount of dollar. We have to have a conversation
Yeah.
about
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure.
You know, even with that, I still have my own little mommy money I keep
Oh, is
I
that what
keep
we call it?
aside. I
Just
just made that
mommy
word up
money.
just now, so I guess my little pocket money. But so yeah, I'll put a conversation on the table, and then and get back with you on it, on what occurs with that conversation. So what I do know is that no matter what, I have done so much work, and this is still there. And
I
although it
know.
is significantly better, and I do know and believe that healing that inner child is extremely important, that somatic work, and all those things are very important. So
Well, I
um
think more than anything is like your happiness. Like, what does your happiness and peace in your body feel like? For me, that's just like everything, right? It's like for me, I was at such a low place, and I'm like you. I just felt like, am I ever going to get this shit out? But it really was, the deep trauma work that moved the needle for me. Like, because the other stuff really didn't do much. It kind of didn't get deep enough. So I believe that it is something, if we have the honor of having a childhood that was filled with trauma, then we have the gift on the other side of it, which is like, damn, look at the people who we get to impact when we're on the other side and say, hey, I went through all this and look at where I am today, you know?
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
So
that's good stuff.
good stuff.
That's good stuff. All right,
Okay, so
awesome.
do you want to would you like to reach out to me later after when are you going to have the conversation?
Yeah, so my hubby is sick right now, so he's in
Yeah.
bed, and we had to stop installations today because of it. So he'll be back, I
Is he
sure
the
hope.
installer?
He's our lead installer, yeah. So everything like we lost so much today just by having to take that day off. And yesterday he wasn't great, but at least like we got some stuff done. So tomorrow I'm hoping, to catch up. So when I went down there to check on him, he was like completely out. So I'm, you know, just knowing I probably will talk to him tomorrow, not today,
Okay.
when the day, as
Okay,
long
well,
as tomorrow doesn't become a
so you want to
crazy day. So it's Wednesday, right? So Thursday, Friday, um, we can either connect on um this weekend or on Monday,
Okay.
whatever your schedule's like. I mean, I pretty much
Weekends are
work.
open because I don't have I usually don't have, well, probably on Saturday I will. Ooh, it's 111. Um did you hear my phone ring? My phone is almost always on silent, but my phone rang and I was like, what the heck?
No, but when we very first started and it affected me, I think getting into that bottom layer was right after we talked about the blue bubble coming in, my doorbell rang, which never happens. So the dogs were barking. So even though they're downstairs and it was muffled, it was loud enough. So then then my brain started thinking about Are the kids going to come up here and try to get me now? Is it someone that they're going to need me to take
Oh,
care of this? And then I'm like, stop thinking, go back to the blue
it's
bubble.
so funny. It's so funny that like I have certain people that the resistant comes up every time I'm doing a process with them. And I'm like, this is so interesting. But that stuff happens, especially the first couple of times. That's why I say some people have a hard time opening up initially, but because of the work you've done, you were able to open up pretty good. It was just you got stuck connecting to
Hmm.
your emotions at that. And that's where I was like, okay, we get to do some more work here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I need to. I mean, I can talk about stuff that is like severely I've always had that ability to just talk about stuff that is really, really, really hard crap and like nothing's even happened.
Yeah. But
I mean,
the hard part for some people is to allow themselves to let go, to go into the process. Like they go
okay.
too much in their conscious mind and their mind's going.
Oh,
You,
yeah.
you let yourself just drop down.
I
So
do really try. I
yeah.
mean, I really do. Even with my ketamine treatments, like every time I go, I know some people just go in for a treatment. I don't do that. Like I go in with an intention. I go in, I've got my music. That's why I'm all set up with my blindfold because
Hmm.
I have all of the things. Because my thing is, if I am investing this money in a session, I want all of what I can get out of this
Yeah.
session in that session. And that means
It's
me having
awesome.
to just let go,
Well,
and
and that's
experience whatever
great.
comes.
And that's exactly why I will do 12. Like I think that the 12 sessions, even better if it's six months, because that way you're doing it once a week. So it kind of builds on each other. So the transformation is just like, it's massive because we did it week after week. It wasn't like a one. That's what I think a lot of like therapy does wrong is it's not consecutive. It doesn't hold you to weeks in a row. And I think you kind of you lose what you gained in that one session.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Where if you
Yeah.
can ground it by staying connected and staying doing the work for a chunk of time, you really become a totally different identity. You change who you are. Anyways, I
Yeah.
know you have to go.
I
So we
do.
will chat. I'll check in with you probably on Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday or Monday, whatever works for you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I
and
appreciate it.
drink lots of water, okay? We
Okay.
detoxed it a lot of energy, so make sure you drink water and get some good rest tonight.
I will do. I appreciate it. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.